they could build a vacuum cleaner super quiet, but what would happen? We associate power with volume. So there's a lot of psychology to how we experience sound in our daily life.
What do you hope people experience or take away when they interact with one of your audio creations?
That's a good question. I mean, sound has this... Let me start again. Most of the time people think about sound as just being entertainment because they just know it from podcasts that they are entertained, or like from films or from music. But you already mentioned there are podcasts that you really enjoy sleeping with because there is more than entertainment to sound. And I feel like this is why I want to drive people that they ideally would even learn something from the experience, or maybe, as I mentioned, are inspired and think, oh, I've not really thought about it, or I've not even heard this effect before. And it just, makes you, I don't know, even feel good. But it's not just this, entertainment. I mean, if you want to get entertained, just go to TikTok. I don't know. But this is not the magic that sound even has. The magic of sound is that you can really influence emotion, which sounds so weird talking about it. But you know it when you watch a movie and you add two different musical pieces underneath it. Suddenly the visuals feel completely different. And I'm not sure if that's really an answer for your question, like what do I want to give to people, but ideally as mentioned, I want to inspire them and give them an experience that they haven't had before, and ideally, and this is what's really difficult in 3D audio, even finding a use case where they figured, oh, this was useful. And this is what I sometimes have with in the automotive industry, for example, where you hear danger from the direction where it's coming. Imagine a car in the, what's the term, I guess, the blind spot, where you can't see there's a car behind you, and even in the mirrors you wouldn't see it. This is why you have to look around. And there are already systems that play a sound coming from this direction, so you would know, oh, there's a car that I can't see, but I can hear the car. Or if you're parking, for example, you're driving back, you hear something beeping at the back, because this is what the information tells you. Oh, there's danger coming from the back, or maybe from the right when you don't see the post or something. And ideally, people have this feeling, oh, this is where you can use sound, and it makes so much sense. And this is where I try to drive people to.
Yeah, it's actually like sound can tell you so many things that you don't have to then, for example, in movies, then you don't have to pay for it, or like, I think that you can say so many things with sound, and especially if it's, I always call it spatial sound, but I think that's the wrong way to say it. It's spatial sound.
Spatial, I mean, it's all right. I mean, It's just the pronunciation. The term always changes. I like to call it 3D sound, but if you go on the Apple homepage and change it from German to English, it suddenly is spatial sound. But also Germans sometimes call it spatialer sound, which is similar. So I can judge.
But I think that, for example, in if we just take like Alfred Hitchcock or somebody that was like really good at telling stories of like really horrible things, like horror films, but not without showing any horror. But everyone was like really scared, like, oh my God. And this, of course, is like, can be much easier with 3D sounds.
Exactly. I mean, I talk a lot about obviously about 3D sounds, but there are like so many basic things you can do with even mono sound or even stereo sound. Here some fun things you have not thought about. Quick fire round. And have you thought about a vacuum cleaner? Is usually pretty loud. Guess what? They could build a vacuum cleaner super quiet, but what would happen? You would think the vacuum cleaner doesn't have power, because we associate power with volume. Imagine you have a big car, you would think, oh, the sound must be big. But what if the car just sounds very small? It wouldn't make sense, and it wouldn't transport the value. So this is why, or even shavers. Shavers from men sound different than shavers for women. Men love the sound of having it sounds like the hair is ripped out, like it's shredded pretty much. But shavers for women are like very soft and do hardly any noise. So there's a lot of psychology to how we experience sound in our daily lives. I just thought it's some fun facts you've maybe not thought about.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. It's very psychological, really. Like sound plays a big role. But I was actually curious to know, like, could you share any tips on how content creators or filmmakers can start exploring spatial audio in their own work? And also, like, if you are running a company and you have a brand, like, how can you start to consider 3D sound to enhance your brand story?
Yeah. Okay, maybe let's start with question 1. How to get started? It's fairly easy. Go into the YouTube rabbit hole and just, I don't know, type for 3D audio, type in ASMR or even 8D audio, which is like this weird phenomenon where people just make sound circle around your head. It doesn't make sense from a creative point of view, but technically it works pretty good. Like, we could also maybe put in a demo into the podcast.
Absolutely.
And then you would remove your headphones because you think, okay, there's sound like traveling in your room. It works really good, but it's weird. But what do we learn from it? Okay, there's already this technology out there, but hardly the knowledge what to do with it. There we again have the point of, okay, content. And long story short, just go online, get inspired, and see what works for you, what is fun, and then try to maybe replicate it and try to come up with your own story and see if it works. And if it does not work, do it better next time. And if it does not work, do it next time better. Because what I see most of the time with those immersive medias, like those new formats, is people try it once and we're like, this doesn't really work, and then just throw it away. Just like with the Apple Vision Pro, I feel like, okay, they put it on and I'm like, oh, this is amazing, but what can I do with it? And then they do something and I'm like, it doesn't really work for me, and then they just put it away. It's really hard for new technology to become useful when you don't have the right things to do with it. It's painfully easy.
Yeah. But we're a little bit over time, but it's just so much fun to talk. And of course, this mysterious industry that is kind of growing before our eyes, but still there is some kind of mystery and around it. And I think that our listeners definitely got some kind of insights into this world. And also really amazing to hear your story and how it all started for you and how you were brave enough to be so specific and narrow your offering down. But are there any kind of standout brands or founders out there that you follow who you think are doing something remarkable?
Yeah.
It can be like a favorite brand. It doesn't have to be related to anything that you do, but something that comes up.
Yeah, you would be thinking that a no-name company you've never heard of, because 3D audio is such a niche. But I would mention Apple, because they're doing a really good job of implementing 3D audio into their products without you maybe even knowing it, but it's becoming a trend in the last years. For example, the AirPods Pro. They do have now this feature that enables you to be a certified hearing aid. Like, suddenly the hardware is already out for, I don't know, for a year or something. Suddenly they made a software update and it becomes a hearing aid. So now competing with all those hearing aids that cost, I don't know, probably 5 times more than AirPods, for example. And they also have a 3D audio feature where you would even take a picture of your ears, which sounds so weird, but you take a picture of your ears, So it would create a model, like a 3D model of your ears, so it can render the sound personalized to your hearing, so that you would have the illusion, if you wear headphones, that there's really sound happening inside your space. And there are so many things like under the hood that they did really good. As I mentioned, this implementation of, they know how your ears are shaped, so they can adopt the sound to make the sound even better, like the experience even better, so it would really sound like you're sitting in a cinema, for example. So long story short, why did they do this? Because they were already working on the Apple Vision Pro, and the Apple Vision Pro is, I mean, a huge VR, AR, however you would call it, XR headset. But obviously it needs sound, and they built the whole foundation for the Apple Vision Pro with the AirPods. And now you combine both of the worlds, and then you have a great experience. And so they did a lot of things right. I really can't criticize Apple as much, because I really feel that they put a lot of effort into making sound good, and they know how important sound is. And this is what I really appreciate.